2020 that we wouldn't be traveling. Most of us will sit next to each other on an airplane on trade missions and things like that throughout the year. I think many of us probably haven't even been to an airport this year. So we are bringing International here to you today. I'll remind everyone that not just here in the room, there are several people, but this is also a virtual event, a hybrid event. Many people will be viewing via our YouTube channel live right now as we speak. There's also a number of people that will be coming throughout the morning, so stay tuned. For those of you that are in the room, though, I do want to recognize a few of our elected officials and diplomats. If you could stand and be recognized when I call your name, I'll start with our own PASCO County Commissioner, Catherine Starkey, who is also our chair of our Global Competitiveness Committee. Also with us is County Commissioner Jack Mariano. Jack, there you are. Do we have Robert Fleach, from the Director of Outreach, from Congressman Gus Bilirakis here? There we go. How about Luis Lara Puente? There's Luis. Luis is with the Tampa Bay District Office of Senator Rick Scott. Also with us from the Consul General of France, Jean-Charles Faust. There he is. Honorary Consul to the Republic of Austria, Christian Zeller. Christian will join us later today. And also from Mexico, Deputy Consul Hector Peralta, also driving over, I believe, from Orlando this morning. Consul General of the Republic of Germany, Andreas Siegel. You'll hear from Andreas soon. Deputy Consul of Brazil, Rodrigo da Costa Fonseca. Trade Representative of the Kingdom of Bahrain, Rose Sager. Also joining us later, I assume. Did I miss anyone? She's doing virtual. Everyone wave to the Trade Representative. Today, you're going to learn a lot of different things from trade, international trade promotion, foreign direct investment. We're also going to be talking about some things that just have to do with foreign relations. And I think it's a reminder to all of us, especially in these crazy times, that trade is one of the ways that we promote world peace. So we do have a responsibility, not just as business people, but also as citizens of this planet. Some of the things that we'll learn today is Enterprise Florida. We'll talk about Florida's trade. That'll be presented to you by Mr. Manny Mancia. There'll be an export panel discussion with the Small Business Development Center, Enterprise Florida, the U.S. Foreign and Commercial Service, and the Small Business Administration representatives. There'll be a trade presentation and discussion by the Counselor Corps panel, and a panel discussion of exporting companies and testimonials talking about the programs and services that we offer here for trade promotion. I do have the honor, and I'm very humbled to introduce our first speaker this morning. Enterprise Florida's Manny Mancia, who is the Senior Vice President of International Trade and Business Development. Manny joined Enterprise Florida in 1996. Prior to that, he served as the Vice President of World Marketing at the Beacon Council in Miami between 1992 and 1996. He's acquired extensive international trade experience and expertise, having served in various executive positions at the Florida Department of Commerce between 1977 and 1991. They used to wear bell bottoms back in 1977. I've seen pictures. Manny currently serves as the president of the State International Development Organization, also known as SITO, the National Organization of State Trade Development Agencies, and he's on the board of the Florida Export Finance Corporation, the World Trade Center Miami, the Trade Partners Alliance, and the Florida District Export Council. Manny obtained a Bachelor of Science degree from Florida International University in Education and a Bachelor of Arts from St. Thomas University in Political Science. I'll also add that that is just a short description. Manny is known worldwide. It's not unusual after traveling with Manny on several occasions that you can walk down any street in Buenos Aires and people will say, "Hey, Manny," and I'm not exaggerating. Manny was kind enough to give me my very first job in economic development some 25-ish years ago. I had hair, he was taller, but here we are today. He has a world of experience, and I'm very excited for him to be here with us today in Pasco County. So please welcome Manny Mancia.
Thank you, Bill, for your very kind introduction. It's so good to see great friends. We don't see them. I don't see Bill as often as I used to, so it's so great to see him. And by the way, a great economic developer also. By the way, so I'm with Enterprise Florida. I run the international programs of Enterprise Florida. So I'm the guy responsible for. I better take this thing off. I mean. Never mind. I'm the guy responsible for the state's export promotion programs. By the way, I'm a fairly modest guy, so I blush when I brag, but I like to think we have as robust and effective a statewide economic development program as any in the United States. And so thank the Brookings Institution and some of the leading organizations that analyze this type of thing. I also run the foreign direct investment recruitment efforts and manage what is now a international network of 18 offices in key markets around the world. First question before we go any further, how many of you had heard of Enterprise Florida before I just said that this morning? Okay, I'm glad. So the people that call my office wanting to rent cars is not you. Good. Anyway, now turning serious, I truly want to congratulate the Pasco County Economic Development Organization, Commissioner Starkey, who's, when I think of Pasco County International Development, I think of the commissioner. She's the face of international for me in Pasco County. She's been working with us closely for a long time. I don't want to date the commissioner. She'll be mad at me. And of course, my good friend, Bill Cronin. And I congratulate you for your foresight in organizing an international program in such difficult and distracting times. And I think it's appropriate because, I gotta tell you, let me assure you, international business is the future of Florida, will be one of the key drivers, if not the key driver of the Florida economy in the decades to come. As it stands, it's already a huge part of our economy. Roughly 20% of the Florida economy is directly attributed to international activities, both international trade and investment. And according to the Business Roundtable, Washington-based think tank, 2.4 million jobs in Florida depend on international business, are sustained by international business. Ladies and gentlemen, that's somewhere around 22, 23% of the total jobs in the state of Florida. And it's only appropriate that the state continue to expand its international network, its international outreach, because we have such natural advantages in our state as an international business location. Begin with our geographic position. If you look at the state of Florida, we're ideally located for Western Hemisphere trade in the apex of the hemisphere, right in the center. We're closer to most capitals in Latin America and the Caribbean than Mexico City, just to put it in perspective because of the curvature of the hemisphere. But look at the map again, and you're also going to see that we're also extremely well positioned for East-West trade. So when people ask me, well, you know, are you guys, promoting your position as the center of the Western Hemisphere, as the business center of the Americas. I said all that and more. We want to position ourselves as one of the great business centers, not just of the United States, but of the world. I already think of us as the Hong Kong of the Western Hemisphere as a state. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Second, we have announced a tremendous international infrastructure. 14 deep water ports. That's extraordinary. If you're a manufacturer in Florida, within 60, I don't care where you're located, within 60 miles of you, there's going to be a port that you can do business with, okay? And by the way, those ports have more routes to the Americas, if we're going to talk about Latin America and the Caribbean, than any region of the world. International airports. 19, I believe there are 19 airports in Florida with some kind of international service. In terms of freight, we handle, listen to this one, 76% of the total freight between the United States and the nations of the Americas, excluding Canada. And finally, and by the way, your neighbor to the south, MIA, is the #1 international freight airport in the United States, but Tampa, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville also have some capacity. So it's easy. Free zones, we have the third largest concentration of free zones in the United States. And finally, culture and people. We're a multicultural state. We're a multilingual state. That's rare in the United States, being quite candid with everyone here. In fact, the last time I looked, there are more than 5 million Floridians that speak a second language with native fluency, just to put it in perspective. That's like 20% or close to 20% of our population. So I believe if you're a manufacturer, if you're a high-tech company, if you're a value-added service provider, you can't afford to ignore international business if you want to grow your company. International business, from your perspective as a businessman, yes, it's very good for your community. It creates jobs. I just said 2.4 million. Yes, it's good for your state. It expands the revenue base, and it's wonderful for your employees. If you're a manufacturer, and you export, you're paying 18% higher than the state average wages to your employees. Now, if you work in logistics, if you work in trade, if you work in any of the services related to international trade, 30% higher average wages than the average wage of the state. So not only does trade create a bunch of jobs, but we create jobs that pay the higher wages as opposed to other industries. I'm a great lover of the tourist industries. I'm their greatest fan. When I put on my foreign direct investment hat, it's wonderful to be able to tell companies in Brazil, in Germany, in places like that, how we have the lowest taxes and not personal income tax, etc. Well, one of the reasons we are able to do that is 125 million people came to Florida in 2019 as tourists, and they pay something like 20% of our taxes here. So it's a wonderful business, but the wages tend to be lower than the wages in trade. We need the wages in trade to create the growing trade. And most important, now you're sitting there saying, well, he's talking about the employees, he's talking about the community. How about me? Well, documented, U.S. Department of Commerce tells us, companies that export, manufacturers, high-tech companies, other companies that export, grow 15% faster and are 12 to 15% more profitable than companies that do not export. Even more important from my perspective, the companies that export are much, much, much less likely to go out of business during economic downturns, during seasonal type downturns. You are able to navigate difficult times much better than others. By the way, during the Great Recession 10 years ago, this was documented in spades. Companies that were exporting managed to stayed the course. In fact, I knew companies that were actually growing during that period as opposed to companies that didn't, and a lot of them went out of business. But a lot of small companies ask me, well, you know, I'm a small guy. I'm not in Miami. I'm not in Tampa. I'm not in Jacksonville. You know, can I compete? Of course you can compete. Florida is, you know, small business world. We have 58,000 plus, actually it's almost 59,000 exporters in this state. To put it in perspective for you, that's 20% of the total exporters in the United States. Only the state of California has more exporters than the state of Florida. And what makes us most unique, 96% of those companies would meet any criteria for small companies. You know, so SBA says 500 employees or less is a small company in the United States. Well, I'm talking, I would say the overwhelming majority of those companies are 100 employees or less. So can you compete? Absolutely, you can compete. In fact, if you aggregate, last year we exported, these are origin exports. This is not things that come in a container to the port of Tampa and then they go out. No, things that are produced here in the state of Florida. We exported roughly $54 billion to the world last year. Now, that's not the entire picture. We are also the fourth largest exporter of services in the United States, technology and everything else in the world, everything from legal services to travel to what have you. That adds about 46 additional $1 billion to the pie. Makes it roughly, this is 2019, where I'll talk a little bit about where we are in 2020. I just don't want to scare you early during my presentation, and I'm kidding. But about $100 billion. Of those $100 billion, 63% was exported by small companies. In fact, in Florida, small companies have a higher level of participation in the export business than in any state of the United States. We're the leading state in the nation in terms of exports by participation by small companies. Exporting is also vital to manufacturers. The National Association of Manufacturers, NAM, has a term that they call manufacturing export intensity. That is essentially the percentage of what you produce in your state that is consumed outside the United States. Florida's manufacturing export intensity ratio is 38%. There's only 2 states that export on a percentage basis more than we do of their manufactured production. And that's the state of Washington, you know, Boeing and Microsoft live there, and Nevada, which is a very, very small state in terms of the volumes that they export and so on. And by the way, I think the state of, well, looking at statistically, the state of Washington is doing awful this year. We're holding our own a lot better than they are. And by the way, 92% of our exports in Florida, you know, and I may always mention this because oftentimes when I go abroad and I speak to foreign business people, they ask me, well, what is it that you guys export? Oranges and things like that. I said, no, listen, 92% of what Florida exports is not chemical, you know, not phosphates. It's not citrus or agriculture. It's manufactured products. We actually have a very high percentage. High percentage of our exports that are manufactured products. And the other thing that we excel at, and often people don't know this, I don't know why, is high technology. We're the 3rd largest exporter of high technology in the United States, behind only California and Texas. And like I said, why would they think we're not? Florida is the birthplace of the space program, the place where commercial aviation was birthed. We're the place where the personal computer was invented in Boca Raton by IBM, where Martin Marietta developed the laser in in Orlando. So high technology has been on our DNA forever. We fell a little bit behind during certain years, and now we're really coming on strong. If you look at the technology activity in the state today, in the population center here in the Tampa Bay region, in Miami-Dade County, Broward, and Palm Beach area, in the Orlando region, the Space Coast, you see a great number of new technology centers, incubators, etc. So we're really building the how would you call the infrastructure to be even a greater technology center than we are today. I believe that I'm kind of running out of time, so can I have 5 more? Okay, great. So where do we do business? 62% of our exports in Florida go to the Western Hemisphere, about 18% to Europe, about 17% to the Middle East, and 3% to Africa. Largest markets, our largest export markets are Brazil, number 1. About 10%, 11% of Florida's total trade is with Brazil. Canada, Mexico, Colombia follow. In Europe, Germany and the United Kingdom are our largest markets. In Asia, Japan and China, and in Africa, in the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, and in Africa, South Africa and Nigeria are our largest market. By the way, there are some markets that are coming on very strong, India, Mexico in particular. Before I finish, EFI is known for its trade shows, trade missions, etc. Obviously, we're not doing those at this point, but we've turned our programs into a very effective virtual services. So if you're a manufacturer and you're looking to meet clients in markets overseas, we have the capacity either through our foreign offices or working with our partners at the U.S. Commercial Service to do one-on-one appointments for you. If you want to participate on a virtual trade show, we can do that for you also. And by the way, the best part is that we have grants that can offset those costs for you already. If you need to translate your website, we have a grants program also that will help pay for a significant part of it. And if you export products that require a certificate of free sale, we're the agency that provides a certificate of free sales. We supported $1 billion in exports last year through that. Now, last and not least, I'm not going to take all the thunder from my friend Joe Bell, because what is he going to talk about in the next panel? But one thing that I want Joe to tell you about, we're very proud of this. We're about to launch, we're already promoting it, so you might have read it, the first Florida International Virtual Trade Show. We're the first state in the United States to do it. We're hoping to get between 150 to 200 Florida companies to exhibit. We're going to market it throughout the world. We're dedicating a big chunk of our budget to marketing it. And we're hoping to attract between 5,000 and 10,000 visitors and buyers from all over the world to the show. Best part about it, if you are friends with Joseph, that's a guy you need to know over there. Now, you have to be his friend. You can get a grant from us, which will offset the entire cost of your participation, reimbursable. So anyway, we're here to help you. I love being up here. I hope to get back here. Maybe the next time I won't have to be wearing a mask, and I hope neither will you. So I look forward to seeing you again soon in the future. Bill, thank you for having me.
Representatives, we want to give you a small parting gift for coming.
Thank you. Well,
and I think also our tourism department also has something for you as well too. I think they want you to stay and be a tourist for a little while and spend some money. So how often do you hear that somebody comes here and offers free money? I mean, you heard grants, right? I saw everybody's popped up a little bit with that. Thank you again,
well,
Manny.
Thank you for having
This is Adam Thomas, the director of. All right, everyone. Now that was a very good way for us to set the baseline on trade in Florida and specifically the advantages of Florida. I'm pleased to also talk about a little bit about our partnership. So our IT department is going to be working to put our virtual attendees online with us for the next panel. While he does that, though, let me make mention to some of the partners that you won't hear today that are here with us. And I'd like to recognize, first and foremost, Adam Thomas, who is just up here with our tourism department, Florida Sports Coast. Also, our partnership with Global Tampa Bay. So if you didn't know that we act as a region, Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough County work together to promote the Tampa Bay region for foreign trade investment. And here with us is Mr. Brent Barkway from Pinellas County, and also the past year of the 2018 Leukemia Lymphoma Society Light Up the Night Walk, and he's been front and center in the effort to keep Major League. Glad that he's been involved with that. Let's go Rays. Great year here. He also continues to connect Tampa Bay with the world through international relations, including the process of normalizing relations in Cuba, maintaining sister city relationships in Ireland and Italy. And in rare times, when he's not working or serving the community, Ron enjoys spending time with his 3 children who are here. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my good friend, Mr. Ron Cristaldi.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. All right. Perfect. Well, thank you all for being here today. And Bill, thank you for the kind words. I'm not sure all of that is true, but I appreciate the kind words. And it's wonderful to see so many friendly faces here today. I was reflecting back as I was driving in here this morning on the importance of the work of the PASCO EDC, their sister EDCs in this region, Enterprise Florida, and many of the individuals in this room for fostering prosperity in this region by forging relationships with international business. I've had the pleasure of visiting places like Bogota, Colombia, and Frankfurt, Germany, and Casablanca, Morocco, and Santiago, Chile, and many others with many of the individuals in this room, and had the opportunity to witness firsthand the tremendous work and tremendous success that is born out of these trade missions. And so, and as a lawyer, what became very apparent to me is that that business success is driven by accessing the best resources, the right resources, and having the right team in place. And the panel that I have the pleasure of moderating today are those resources, are those individuals, is that team. So I'd like to first ask, and we're doing this a little bit virtually too, and hopefully those on the screen here can also see me. So I'm gonna call each of our panelists one by one. First, just ask you to introduce yourself and tell a little bit about what you do, and then we'll get into some question and answer. And Eileen, if I can pick on you first, maybe you can start.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Eileen Rodriguez. I am the Regional Director for the Florida Sbdc at the University of South Florida, the Luma College of Business. And I think we're going to get into a little bit more detail about what we do. So I'll just leave it at that right now.
Let's ask Sandra Huertas to introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity to be with the PASCO County Economic Development folks. I am Sandra Huertas. I'm the Export Finance Manager for the Office of International Trade at the Small Business Administration for Central and Northern Florida. And just like Eileen said, I will give you more details about what we do for Florida exporters.
Thank you, Sandro. Next, my good friend here in person, Joe Bell.
Thank you very much, and thank you again, participants, for being here. When it is Thank you. My name is Joseph Bell, and I serve as the Regional Manager for Enterprise Florida, of course, covering the 10 counties from Citrus County all the way down to Charlotte County. My role is to support our small businesses in the community, who include our manufacturers and professional service providers, as they seek to expand their opportunities in the global marketplace. So working with our partners in this community, and I always put Global Tampa Bay, always talk about them because of what they do in this region is a model I think that should be replicated throughout the state of Florida, where communities coming together to promote international trade. So this has helped us tremendously as a state, and of course our small businesses as we try to support them and allow them to find more markets in the global place. And the resources that I'll be talking about here today is what can be used or can be utilized to achieve these goals. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Joe. And Dan, last but certainly not least, if you can hear us, maybe you can just say a word of introduction.
Hi, welcome everybody. I'm glad everybody is able to come and attend today. My name is Dan Bjork. I'm with the U.S. Commercial Service, which is part of the U.S. Department of Commerce. Of course, we're headquartered in Washington, D.C., being a federal agency. But we have a local office here in Clearwater covering 12 counties of Florida. And our office here is one of over 100 across the country. And of course, we also have our colleagues working in U.S. embassies and consulates around the world that are there to help you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. We are truly honored to have such a distinguished panel here today. And let's jump right in. A moment ago, to our panelists here, a moment ago, I talked a bit about having the right resources to ensure business success in engaging in economic trade internationally. I'm going to ask each of you, what are some of the resources offered by your organization, and why should companies avail themselves of these resources? And maybe Eileen, if you wouldn't mind kicking off that question.
Absolutely. And I do have a PowerPoint presentation. Not sure if it's up on the screen. So, oh, there it is. Okay. Thank you so much. Put that in PowerPoint mode. All right. Well, as I mentioned, I'm with the Florida Sbdc at the University of South Florida, and I wanted to just give you a really brief, very, very brief overview of who the Sbdc is and how we help Florida exporters. Next slide, please. So the Sbdc, the Florida Sbdc network, covers every square inch of the state of Florida. And as you can see, we are associated with 9 different universities. Actually, one of them is a state college, and we're all part of the state university system. So just wanted to give you an overview that, yes, we are covering the entire state of Florida. And for those of you that have friends and colleagues throughout the United States, the Sbdc exists throughout the entire United States as well. So definitely encourage everyone to reach out to their local Sbdc office for any assistance. Next slide, please. So the region that I cover covers these 10 counties. Of course, PASCO County is one of our 10 regions. And so just wanted to give you a visual of the footprint that we have in the greater Tampa Bay area. And again, you know, we have our main offices located in downtown Tampa at the Port Tampa Bay building, but we definitely service all of these counties. We also have offices throughout all of these counties. Next slide, please. So basically, this is what we do. We've been in existence for over 40 years. The Sbdc network at the national level has been around for over 40 years, and Florida was one of the 9 pilot programs for the Sbdc nationally. So we've been here for 40 years as well. And this is what we are mandated to do. We are here to assist small businesses, helping them grow and succeed, which is our tagline. We do that through offering no-cost confidential consulting and training as well. At this point for this year, thanks to COVID, all of our training is being done virtually and at no cost. So I would encourage all small business owners to take advantage of our services. Even when we do charge, it's very, very minimal. But this year, because of the situation, it's definitely free. And we are doing them all online. We are not doing any in-person meetings or consulting or training, but everything is done virtually through our Microsoft Teams platform or just via telephone for those consulting sessions. We also offer market research, as you can see on the slide, and that's one of the main components of the one service that we offer all of our exporters. And so I'm going to talk about our special services, but in particular, next slide, please. I'm going to be talking about international trade. So again, these are some of the areas just in general that small businesses can take advantage of when coming to the Small Business Development Center for assistance. And so any of these items, any of these topics we can cover with you, whether it's financial management, capital access, strategic planning, cybersecurity, if you need help with your website. But needless to say, international trade is the topic for today. So that's what we're going to talk about. Next slide, please. We have several certified global business professionals, CGBPs, on staff. And this, in the photo that you see in front of you, On the right-hand side is Selma Canis, and she is our International Trade Manager for the International Trade Center at the SBDC here in Tampa Bay. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the one great service that we offer small businesses that are either looking to export or looking to expand to new markets. Next slide, please. You heard Manny talk about a lot of the grants that they give out, and I know that Joe's going to talk about this in a lot more detail as well. But I want to tell you all about our export marketing plan services. So this is something that we have been able to develop thanks to Enterprise Florida. This is really their baby. And with their funding, we've been able to provide this service to small business owners. So basically what you do, and there is a flyer, and obviously I'm going to give you our website and you can go to that and find out more information. But if you're looking to take your business to the next level, to really expand it and find those markets outside of the United States that are going to help you grow your business, you really want to come in and talk to us first. So we can put together for you an export marketing plan that is going to outline all of the different markets that are available for you and your industry. So this is not a cookie cutter type of plan. We will do a lot of market research specific to your industry, find information that is going to be pertinent to growing your business, and give you some options as to which markets are the best markets for your business. And we're not going to tell you, oh, you really need to go to Australia to sell this. What we will do is we will give you a list of up to 20 or 30 countries. And then we're going to describe each one. We take a look at a number of different areas, and we'll give you the data that you need in order to make an informed decision as to which markets really would be best for your business. Because you and I could be in the same industry, we could have the same kind of business, we could get the same report, we might make different decisions as to which markets we want to penetrate based on our personal opinions, on our personal likes, dislikes, on our risk factors, things of that nature. So definitely something that you want to take advantage of. You do need to apply for this particular program, and applications, again, Joe's going to be talking about this a little bit more too, and he can tell you a little bit more about how to apply. The great news is that Enterprise Florida provides a grant for this service. This is a $5,000 product. We will hand you an actual report for you to read and kind of really delve into. And it is, you know, it's a very detailed report. It is $5,000. However, you're going to get a grant from Enterprise Florida for $4,500 that go towards the preparation of this report for you. Having said that, before COVID, the extra $500 was the fee that you as a business owner would have to pay, which again, considering the value of the document, is really nothing. However, thanks to COVID, one of the things that the SBDC has wanted to do is, again, the SBDC here in Tampa, we've waived the $500 fee for you. So for right now, this report is being offered at no cost. So I would encourage everybody to definitely take advantage of this particular program. If I could go to the next slide, please. And just to give you an example of a PASCO client that has recently taken advantage of this, this is Delta Hydronics. They are in Hudson, Florida. And in May of this year, we prepared an export marketing plan for them. Rick Murray is the business owner. And what they do is that they provide engineered mechanical equipment for aquatic applications. And what that means is that they do heating and chilling units for a variety of different businesses, zoos, fish farms, pools, animal life support systems. And so they're a local manufacturer. They have a very, very niche product, and we're helping them discover markets outside of the United States. I don't want to take up a lot of time. I know we have a lot of folks on the panel that want to give you a lot more information. So next slide, this is my contact information. If anybody needs anything, by all means, feel free to send me an email. Right now, we are not working in our offices. We are, as you can see, I'm at my home office. But we are working, so definitely take advantage of us. Emailing us is probably the best way to get a hold of any of our team members. And my last slide is going to give you the contact information for my international trade manager, Selma Canis, who you saw in that previous slide. So if you could advance the slide there for me, please. And that's Selma's information. Again, please send her an email. We are not at the office answering phones, but all of us are very, very happy to help you expand your business, help you really increase your profitability and your sales. And with that, I'll turn it back over. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Eileen. That's extremely informative. Appreciate that informative presentation. Next, I'm going to ask Joe to speak on the issue of what resources are available and how can a company access it, utilize those resources.
Thank you again, Ron. For those of us that are in here, there's a table on PASCO's desk with several of our programs that I'm going to talk about, but also this information is available on our website too as well. As you shift in the slides, if you want to go to the second slide, let's go to the second slide. Thank you very much. The situation that we're in right now, has caused us to adapt accordingly to the needs of our Florida small businesses. Enterprise Florida, our international development department, our focus has always been on helping small businesses find customers overseas. So our traditional in-person trade missions, that's not taking place. The in-person trade shows that we would provide funding for our companies to participate in overseas, that is not taking place. And even some of those companies that would go on their own to trade or to participate in Gold Key programs all over the world, that is not taking place at this point in time. So what do we do? Because people are still buying, commerce is still taking place, so what do we do? So some of the programs that we developed was the virtual business matchmaking program. With our Enterprise Florida offices around the world, we are able to still connect small businesses, manufacturers, professional service providers with clients who are interested in purchasing their products, or those Florida companies that are seeking to connect with decision makers, distributors all around the world. We continue to partner with the U.S. Commercial Service. Some of the offices are still open, or as they are gradually opening around the world, that they are providing what we call an international partner search combined with the virtual introduction. So in essence, they would do the groundwork, the due diligence on prospective businesses that you are interested in or that are interested in your products and services, and eventually for you to connect with them virtually. Enterprise Florida would provide a grant to offset the cost of that as well. And we also have what we call our companies that want a lot, since several of the traditional in-person trade shows are now going virtual. Several of our companies are taking advantage of that right now. They're not traveling. But of course, there's a cost to that. The organizers are still charging their clients to participate in those events. And yes, Enterprise Florida is providing a grant to our eligible companies as well. Selma spoke about the export marketing plan. I would always say to companies that are just starting into the process of exporting, don't just use that plan as, okay, just for me to, all right, find out, well, where can I export my product? But it's a living document, something that will be part of you as your business grows. You have seen where the Small Business Development Center have updated that plan for companies, have either the products that they were manufacturing have become obsolete, or they have ventured into new products as well. So take advantage of that. We have our website localization grants for some of us, our companies, our products, and we're pursuing markets where they do not speak English. So how do we connect with the local buyers in those markets as well? So we would provide a grant to offset the cost for that service. It's a $12,000 package. Again, as a small Florida company, as a small business, you would be eligible for a grant of $8,000 that would offset the cost of that for you as well. I would be remiss if I don't talk about our Florida International Trade Expo, as Manny spoke about briefly, first ever among all the states for an event like this. And it's really for Florida, given our significance in international trade. As a peninsula state, we have no choice but to trade with the world. And so, because we want to continue to support our small businesses, we want to give them the exposure out there. This event is for the world. We're making every effort to ensure that we market this to markets all around the world, and we're utilizing the resources of the U.S. Commercial Service, we're utilizing the resources of our external offices around the world to promote this event. For a nominal fee of $1,060, because you're a small Florida small business, manufacturer, professional service provider, we would provide a grant to offset this cost itself. So at the comfort of your home, not having to travel, and you have the ability to interact with potential customers, engage in one-on-one meetings, and your product is being showcased worldwide. So I urge you businesses that are in here and via the internet participating virtually to take advantage of this event too as well. So these are just some of the programs that we talked about. I'm here to address any questions or to provide you with my contact information thereafter so that we will discuss how we will go take advantage of those programs. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. Also extremely informative. And I think sort of next in line logically is Sandro. So if you wouldn't mind, Sandro, addressing the resources available to companies and why they should avail themselves of those resources.
Thank you. I also have a presentation. Okay. So as I mentioned to you, if we can go to the next slide, please. I work for the Office of International Trade, which is also a federal agency that basically has the mission to help create and grow and expand into international markets, these small businesses around the country. SBA, basically what it does is to provide access to counseling. We fund the partners such as the Sbdc, Veterans Business Opportunity Centers, the Women Business Centers. They're all resources that SBA funds so that small business owners, but also people who want to establish a small business, they can go to these resources and receive free counseling and also training at a very reasonable cost. I also want to mention SCORE, which is an entity that is made up of retired executives and business owners that make their experience available to small business owners or to would-be small business owners. We also have access to federal contracts. We want to make sure that small businesses have the opportunity to have access to the contracts. Let's remember that the US government is the biggest buyer in the world, so we want to make sure that small businesses have a fair share of those opportunities by being either direct contractors or being part of a larger pool of suppliers or contractors that are providing products and services to the government. And finally, we have access to capital. Access to capital, I want to emphasize that SBA does not provide direct financing unless there is a disaster. And unfortunately, we have seen the great need throughout all this crisis with the COVID, in which SBA has provided disaster loans to individuals and small business owners, and also through our partners, the banks, through the PPP program. But the way SBA works is that we, in conjunction with our partners, the banks and financial institutions that work with us, we provide a guarantee to the bank so that they can provide the loan to the small business owner. So you really don't apply for an SBA loan, but you go through your bank, you apply for the loan, and the bank will come to us to require our guarantee if it's needed. Why are we talking about SBA and small businesses, exporters? Because since the 1980s, SBA has been providing guarantee programs to the banks so that they can provide financing to the small business exporters to help them grow their sales internationally. Next one, please. So we talk about small businesses, and we talk a lot about small businesses. So what is a small business? Basically, SBA has the North America Industrial Code, in which businesses are defined as small according to two parameters, either the number of employees or annual sales. So in general, manufacturers that have 500 employees or less are defined as small businesses. Wholesaler, distributors, 100 employees or less qualifies them as small businesses. Services, depending on the industry, it can go from $7 up to $35 million in sales. And that is the parameter to define the company as a small business. That is important not only to access financing, but also remember, for federal contracting, we have different programs that are designed to help small businesses have access to those contracts. So it's always important to determine the size of the business. And we also have, in the case where we have borderline situations in which a small business might be a little bit over the parameter, or we look at alternative size standards such as net income, average net income, or tangible net worth, to see if they fall under the small business category based on the alternative size standard. Next one, please. So, as I mentioned, SBA works with a lender to facilitate access to financing for small businesses that are exporting, getting ready to export, or are indirect exporters. Next one, please. And why do we get involved in that? As the colleagues from the US Department of Commerce have identified some statistics that show the high potential that small businesses have. We know that 95% of consumers live outside the US, 98% in terms of numbers are the exporters in the US are small businesses, and they generate 33% of the dollar value of US exports every year. And of course, a company that is involved in international trade that is selling in different countries, it means that it's a very competitive company, and that company is able to weather out market conditions like or economic conditions like we have now, a little bit of downturn, because they are very diversified in terms of their client base. So it's and also they're obviously selling products and services that are very competitive. They're able to compete at home, but also in foreign markets. Next one, please. Okay, I spoke a little bit earlier about the indirect exports. We shouldn't forget that many times small businesses are in the supply chain of of a larger company. So, for example, they might sell Boeing some of the components for the airplanes. So this company is not exporting directly, but their buyers are. And if we have that situation, they're able to benefit from our export loan programs that provide the lender a higher guarantee and makes the loan more palatable for the lender, strengthen the loan request for the small business. So it is important to identify those companies that are selling to larger companies, and those larger companies are re-exporting. And we call that indirect export, and SBA, both SBA and the Export-Import Bank, which is a sister agency that provides insurance for foreign account receivables to small businesses and larger businesses. We take into account that condition, the indirect export, and we let the indirect exporters, the small business indirect exporters, access our programs. Next one, please. So we talked about the export loan products. Which one are those? We basically have three products. We have the Export Working Capital Program, which is designed to provide working capital to finance export transactions, both direct and indirect, for small businesses. Basically, we allow the bank to provide a line of credit up to $5 million. We will guarantee to the bank 90% of that line of credit. And the bank can lend money to the small businesses to finance foreign purchase orders, foreign account receivables, or export inventory. So it's very convenient for a small business that gets a large contract to go to the bank and tell the bank, I have a purchase order from a well-established foreign buyer, but I don't have the money to supply that order. They go to the bank and they can get up to 90% of the value of that foreign purchase order. Or they might already have made the sale. They have a foreign account receivable. They need additional working capital for additional export sales. They can take the foreign account receivable, possibly backed by a letter of credit or a credit insurance from Exim Bank, and get up to 90% of the value of that account receivable. And we also have the option to do a borrowing-based certificate in which they will put foreign account receivables and export inventory and present that certificate monthly to the bank and get up to 90% against a foreign account receivable and up to 75% against export inventory. We also have the Export Express, which is another program that can be issued as a line of credit. We provide financing up to $500,000, and we provide the bank with a guarantee of 90% up to $350,000, and between that amount and $500,000, the bank will receive a guarantee from SBA of 75%. This is a general business line of credit. The small business can use the line to finance export sales, but also to finance expenses such as going to a trade show, trade mission. When things get back to normal, they can use the money to make sure that their products and, for example, the labeling, the marketing are up to the standards of the foreign market, and they can finance all of those expenses through the Export Express. And finally, as the company is growing and hopefully is acquiring more clients, selling more, they need to expand their facilities, such as the commercial real estate or the equipment, or they want to refinance debt, or they want to do a business acquisition of another company. They can use the international trade loan. This is a term loan that goes up to $5 million with a 90% guarantee. They can use the funds, as I mentioned, to finance commercial real estate or equipment, permanent working capital for inventory, and also debt refinancing. And this will help the company expand, get a longer loan repayment term. We can go 10 years for equipment, 25 years for commercial real estate. And that will allow the company to access financing, improve cash flow, and being able to be more competitive in international markets. This is the next one, please. This is in a nutshell what we do. As I mentioned, I cover Central and Northern Florida. So we work with lenders in all these territories and with the small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, Dan, last but certainly not least, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Very good. I too have a presentation, if that could be displayed on the screen, please. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, the resources available from the federal government, at least from the Department of Commerce. But I'm going to focus my remarks on the resources that are more commonly used right now because of the pandemic. So it's going to be more into the virtual, or as I used to call it before the pandemic, we used to call it the stay-at-home sales and marketing resources that we have. Next slide, please. One of the things that we can assist companies in doing is gathering some market intelligence for where your buyers might be in the world, where the markets might be. We are probably at least every week referring companies to Eileen Rodriguez and Selma Canas at the Sbdc to do their export marketing plans. We do not do an export marketing plan for companies. If you want one done, you need to go to them. But if you're looking for specific market intelligence in a country, I would encourage you to reach out to us. We do gather, as you see on the slide, we can download export statistics, and there's some databases where we can identify in certain countries who the importers, the actual names of the importers are in certain countries, whether you want to do due diligence, you're in negotiations with them and you want to verify how much do they really import, where does it come from, that sort of thing. There are certain countries, I think about 13 of them, that we can actually tell you that. It comes out of the DataMine database. But the more frequently asked questions we get for market intelligence will be more, what does it take for me to get my product out of the United States, so U.S. export compliance? And on the other side of the coin, it's the import compliance in the countries of destination that you would be exporting to. So what technical standards or what other permits or such would you need? And the way we help you with that is we use our specialists working in the U.S. embassies and consulates to help you identify that information and the products here, the international partners